planning and zoning meeting tonight. We've got some scouts tonight here with us.
Hi.
Hi. Remember, there is going to be a quiz.
Well, no,
Okay. Well, let's just start with roll call. Dave Higginson. Here. I'm here. Lynn Snow. Here. And Chris Squire. Here. And others. I know Eric just messaged me and said he may not be able to make it. I don't know about the others. But
Nancy did call and say she wouldn't be here.
Okay.
I have not heard from Gwen.
Okay. But we do have a quorum, so we can continue. Okay, let's
Wait,
go ahead and start off, review the minutes of last month's meeting. Did anybody see any changes that needed made?
The thing I noticed was that Bruce Weatherston's not in the list of people. I don't know if that's pretty or not, but
Cindy?
he was here.
yep, thank you.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes as amended.
A motion by Dave,
I'll second it.
second by Lynn, all in favor? Aye. Okay. Let's move on. Looks like we have a public hearing tonight on annexation of the wills and the zone designation at the same time. This is, did we discuss this one already once?
Yeah, so this is just the zone designation.
Okay.
So we've had one, we sent it to public hearing. Annexation will be heard at the council level,
Okay.
but this is a designation of it. And we're saying, what would you like to designate it for? So this is your recommendation, planning zone, the city council to zone this.
Do you have a map? Can you show us?
I'm just finding this.
How big are the, have they already platted it?
So it's platted, it's 1 acre?
Yeah.
1 acre. So it's 1 acre. And how far up is it? Trying to place where, it's along the road. I want to say it's in here, but that's not right, is it? Okay.
Can you pull that up?
Where's it at, Rocky? Show them on the map.
Drop off the end of the golf course,
Okay. There you go. Right.
across the bridge, and it's the first house there on that east side of the road.
This one?
It's,
Where are you from, Melvin?
You're south of that.
it's south of that. It's that piece in there.
It's here.
And it's already been marked as,
Down, maybe they're down below that, right, there's another house.
no, it'd be that one.
It's
It's
all
been marked already.
one piece.
It's all marked together. Okay, so at this point, for whatever reason, it's showing as an RR1. We're expecting a 1 acre lot that in a very rural area. That's what surrounds it, so it would make sense for it. We have to go through the process. If you wanted something different.
What were you guys thinking? Were you guys, thinking RR1 was fine?
Rural residential.
Or don't you just don't care? Or don't you know? That
I
would,
can't hear nothing, so you gotta scream when you talk.
Okay, I'll just make sign language.
That works better.
To me, it looks like if everything else around it is RR1, we should move forward with an RR1 designation, unless there's some reason not to. I don't see why we would want to go something else. Okay, because we had recently changed most of that north of there is RR1 also and stuff, and so I think we should go RR1 with it. Any discussion from the public otherwise? Lee, do you have an RR1 designation, the verbiage, so we can all understand what it is?
Yeah, let me pull that up.
I should have pulled it up, I have it in my book. So.
So we're not talking about the whole square though, it's just the little pie shape to the one side, the other part's already,
It's already RR1.
yeah.
This is actually showing that it is already as well.
Okay, we're just talking about that.
It's not part of the
piece over
city, so.
there.
No, it's just a 1 acre portion of that.
It's not a 1 acre, it'll be bigger than 1 acre, that whole piece, isn't it?
Well, I think it's a smaller portion. Which
I think it's only a portion of that. I think his lot's only 1 acre, isn't it?
It's 1 acre. Okay,
just hasn't been updated on there.
okay.
Yeah.
What was it, so?
It wouldn't have been because it
Oh,
was
was that,
in the
no, it
county.
wasn't in the county, okay.
So at this point, it's still in the county. As it comes in and it annexes, what we're looking for is saying, all right, from the Planning and Zoning Commission, what would you recommend the city council zone this when it annexes? What would you recommend that zone to be?
Okay.
So
I do have the description of RR1 for you if you want it.
Yeah.
It says that the purpose of the RR1 zone is to promote and preserve in appropriate areas conditions favorable to large lot family life and the keeping of limited numbers of animals and fowl. This district is intended to be primarily residential in character and protected from encroachment by commercial and industrial uses.
That sound good, Rocky?
Yeah.
Okay. I move approval.
I have a motion by Lynn to approve this as RR1,
I'll second it.
second by Chris. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We'll close our public hearing.
Does anybody else wants to make
Do
comments?
we have any? I don't think we had anyone else. Okay.
and you ruled that that passed, correct? Just making sure.
Yes, it passed. It is approved as RR1. Okay. Next, we go on to a conditional use permit. Todd Farley. You want to come tell us what you got going on?
Well, I need to build another shop. I, wanna build it's, just a A-frame shed, 30 by 25. On my lot there, I bought half the lot from Hollis Hollinger. I don't know if anybody, you guys pretty well aware where I live.
Show us what it is.
Right across from the old park, Pepsi sign on it.
Pull into there.
This is Hollis's house up by the park, not Hollis's other house.
Oh, there it is.
His old original house.
Yeah.
He bought half of that before they put it in the rest of
I think
He's-
they have another house over.
Yeah, you know, he used to ride his bike. Every day.
Yeah.
that way. That was there the day they took his car, broke the horn. The only time I ever heard that man make his voice.
Do you have a drawing of where you want
I
to
thought
put
you
it?
were on,
We did.
Well, so here.
Oh, this is the one we talked about last week.
are you over here?
Yeah.
So the park's here, you go up
No, it's,
Black was right here.
this way,
Yeah, because you see the small.
show them close here.
How close are you gonna be to the,
Show them here.
property border on that north side? Looks like you're,
On
According to this
the
picture.
west side, it'd be the west side. I'll be about, 3 feet off it with the back of it. Nothing will fall off the back side of the neighbor. It'll all be on my side. It's just an A-frame. It's a tin shed like they got up here. I've got a book here, to show you about what we're doing. It's just an A-frame. It's gonna be a 2-stall A-frame shed. Only it'll be lengthwise.
right, here.
Yeah. I'm putting a 52 Willys pickup together, and I gotta have some place to put it. My other shops, both my shops are full. And I hate to leave stuff outside.
Yeah.
You know,
How large is your house? You probably went through this with Dean.
It's not with our house.
it's on
It's
the
a
other
separate
lot.
lot.
It's on its own lot.
It's on its own lot.
So that's why it comes to conditional use, because normally a residential lot requires a residential house to be built on.
A lot more concerned about the setback on the property than I am the conditional use, but definitely we need to approve that, but
And it's the one your mouse is on, right?
I was under the impression we had to have a 10-foot setback. Normally.
Well, we can
Property
do that
line.
also if you want.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if we need 10 feet, but
Do you have the draw, the
Well, we
drawing
got
that
a,
was sent out?
pole there, a light pole.
uh-huh.
We're gonna crowd that pole, we're gonna be off that. That's probably, well, you got the fence and then, I don't know,
And
2-3 feet for the pole, and then we'll have probably 6-8 feet probably by the time
Now,
we're
where's
done.
the street?
were their neighbors notified?
Yeah.
Because like I said, I've got a neighbor that has, his property actually, the drip line on his property is right on the property line.
I got one of the foundations right on the property line, his deeds are on mine. John Gill's garage, when he sold that out, the kid that bought it, I had conditional, because my shop, I built a shop right next to it, his was out of code. We never knew until I was building mine. My shop was gonna build, was supposed to be in a 40-60, and they couldn't do it, I had to drop anchor 24-40, and I had no shop sitting there on the ground. All I did is kit,
So who lives in that house now?
I'm still in it.
No, John Gill.
Bill
Oh,
Thomas.
that's still Thomas.
Bill Thomas. So you're, this is next to Bill Thomas?
Yeah.
No, this is facing towards Field Park over
Yeah,
by,
sold by the.
Not even a lot that's attached to your home?
No,
Yeah, okay.
it's
So
on
I was
the,
getting confused there.
And that's why we're doing a conditional use, because there is not a home on it, and it's in a residential zoned area. Like I said, my only concern is it.
Now, where's the street in relation to that, Brian? Where's-
it's right there,
What? Oh,
yeah,
That's the street.
where his arrow's at.
okay.
The only thing that's across the road from that shop is,
the park,
our
on the
pavilion,
corner, on the corner to the
right
west
there.
of us is
Put
Wallace.
the big Pepsi sign, I found 2 Pepsi.
So what's the- what's
signs.
this- What's the setback gonna be from the lot lines?
He said 4 feet.
I would say we can go 6-8 feet, it doesn't matter. I can go as far off the property line as we need to. It's just driveways, all it's going out into.
So it's a driveway along the side.
Well, I've got the whole yard asphalted.
This way.
The whole yard is asphalt.
Yeah.
I've got 6 inches asphalt through both yards.
So which one of these, I mean, you've got 2 sheds drawn there, which one are we talking about? That
That
one?
one.
That one
No,
there's
that's
30 by
already there.
That's the one
35,
that's already there?
yes.
What we want to
So it's the
do,
little one.
That one there is the
No.
smaller one, that's my wood shop.
you see where it says tree, the garden box is down here coming down
Okay.
the side. Right there where it says tree, we wanted to go from that north side and bring it down towards the south
Okay,
side.
so you haven't drawn the one you're wanting to put in.
Right,
Okay.
it is,
No.
there's nothing there but
So
asphalt.
you're just wanting to put it in that empty spot?
Right.
There, at that corner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then she's got planter boxes, her planter boxes is what she's got drawn up there.
My garden boxes.
So it's a side yard setback there.
Yeah, that's all it is the side yard. Basically, we're just gonna block it off so that the park can't see our garden and the yard. Yeah.
Now, how close are you gonna be to the front,
To the street.
to the street?
Oh, we'll be 10 feet. I got a dog buried in the corner, we don't want to put it on the top.
Well,
Doesn't it have to be
only
back?
want to setback 30?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be back
That
30.
would be back 30. I'd have to look. Dean was unable to be here, and he normally takes care of it.
I think we'd want it off the street 30.
Normally 30.
Normally 30, everything's gonna be off the street 30 feet back.
Got a house right there that's not 30.
Well, some of those were built before
The
the
current rules.
current rules, but, you know, normally there's now a 30-foot setback, you know, to the front of any building that you have.
Well, that'd be from the,
That'd be the middle of the lot then.
Yeah,
Because we're 61 feet.
So will that give him room to do it?
no.
And you don't want that ready on that garden box anyway, do you?
No.
Your son, you want there.
That would not give me any room, but that means I'd have to keep my garden out.
I don't know, that seems like that's a dean kind of a thing on the setback, Brian.
I think I'm just gonna look to see if I can quickly find the setbacks here.
Well, Mike Lynn, I was in,
Curb, or is that 30 foot from
Property.
property line?
I think the POR. It's not in the. Professional office regulation. You can't have. You have to know what those setbacks are.
So that's, what is the zone here?
It's POR.
Is it, are we sure?
That's what it looked like on there. And it's,
Is that what the zone is? Brian? You know, on that?
Yes, POR, which flows with an R16 on setback rules.
okay,
So
so that is 30 feet.
You've got mail. Side yards,
So private garage would be 6 feet.
in garage or carport,
25 feet. Side yard regulations.
is that a side yard or is that
Not-
considered
not
a front yard?
outside. Well, we need to know what the front. That's under the side yard regulation.
Yeah. Which faces the street, any garage or carport opening, which faces the street, setbacks from the street, 25 feet from the street.
So that's not something we rule on, I mean, that's already in the
But the
rules.
opening is not gonna be 25 feet, it'll be coming out into the yard. Cause we'll
Yeah, it won't be
we'll
facing-
be driving into
It won't
the
be
east.
facing the street at all.
Yeah, won't
The
be facing
garage
the
won't be-
street at all.
Where's the garage opening?
But the building cannot be any closer than 25 feet to the street.
Yeah, but he said right there, the opening of the garage.
Yeah, but they're
And
saying
put the
building
opening
also.
on, you know, this way. And so we don't need that.
I think it's just, it's whatever the rules say, we don't make the rules, we do, but we
Don't change them. Frontage. Yeah, right there, the front yard regulations. And then
The
these,
depth of the front yard for main buildings in R1 districts shall be 30 feet. That's where your 30 feet.
So is this but this isn't R1, you say this is.
the POR.
POR fits the setbacks
R1
of the
setbacks.
R16, the lowest of the residential setbacks.
And if we look at C, it says accessory buildings may have same minimum yard depth as main building. Same side yard requirements, otherwise they shall be set back with set 6 feet in the rear.
What's the no main building unless you consider the other shed.
Unless you consider the other shed, that's
Onto
the
the
big
street, should be set back at least. So that doesn't qualify. So I guess the question is, as Lynn said, we don't really make the rules, we just let you know what they are. So you need to be 30 feet back from the property line.
There's no way it'll fit.
Okay.
There's no way that shed will fit. Not 30 feet from the property line. If it was 30 feet from the curb, yeah. That lot's not that deep.
You only have 61 foot deep.
Well, didn't that say?
There's no way for it to fit. It can't fit.
So you're saying the difference between the property line and
the curb,
Yeah, if we had the curb, if we was coming off the curb, that would give you an extra 8 feet.
That should
You've
be
got
where the
curb,
property
you've
line
got-
is, isn't it?
You've got
Well,
sidewalk, you've got,
Not all.
Not on all of those. Some of them, there's a little section out front that is separate. But the way I read that, that said it had to be from the street, which would mean the curb.
the 20.
That's
That's
not
what
what
you
they
say
said
from the
back
street.
from the street.
That's when it faces the street, and his isn't facing the street. His open garage.
But then the other one said from the street also, didn't it?
Back up to.
That's what I'm saying, is the setback on there, the way I read it, was from the
And
street,
see.
not necessarily from the property line. So it'd be from the curb. From.
And when they're different, they use the curb.
And see, with B, we could go to 25 feet, just because it says, because all those are probably less than 50% fit the minimum requirement on that street. Right? So you could get away with 25.
Yes, that could be reduced to 25 feet instead of the 30.
Uh-huh.
Can it fit with the 25?
From the curb.
From the curb.
Gonna be from the curb?
I'd have to measure to see, but it'd be a lot closer.
That's probably,
If it's 25, does the commission have does the board have an issue with its 25 feet setback?
from the curb. Is that what you're asking, Ryan?
Mm-hmm.
Where it says you can do it, I don't have an issue with.
So I guess two questions. One is regulations, which that will be enforced by Dean. But the question is are you willing to allow a shed to be built on the property rather than a residential dwelling on a residential, professional office residential lot? At that
With a
point,
25-foot setback? Or is that even?
Well, first of all, the
the
question
25-foot setback will be required. Whatever the rule is, that's going to be enforced. But the question really comes to you is, are you willing to let a shed take the place of where the zoning would say a house belongs? If you are, then the setbacks can be taken care of with Dean and determine whether it actually establish on the setbacks, because the rules will be there. Whatever they are here, they'll be there. But the real question is are you gonna allow a shed to take the place of the house? And if you are, and that's okay. I think that's really,
So I
What
guess
the
the question
condition
would be,
goes down
could that possibly be different if it's a residential zone than the current zone that it's in? I mean, that zone that it's in is for.
Professional buildings?
professional office and residential. I mean, it's the transition point between residential and our commercial areas. So this allows both of those to be present. So, I mean, I'm not weighing in one side or the other, don't get me wrong.
So are you looking for
I'm
a
just trying to
motion?
help you to
Where-
understand
where's
which
your
side of
residence?
that.
Our residence connects right to it. It's
On the,
there.
on the west side,
on the north side of
on
it.
the north side.
Yeah, it goes on the north.
Then it goes, our lot goes all the way back to the alley. And then the lot that we're talking about tonight hooks on, and it comes back to the north or to the south.
Let's see it again.
So it's L-shaped.
It's straight
It's
across,
L-shaped,
it's
yeah.
L-shaped, it's straight across
All
from
up
that.
to Shane counties, because they have their plats are more,
Let's look at it updated.
let's see if they have an updated map here.
That's it right there.
Yeah.
Back, right there. Not the house on the corner, so that is our house right there.
And then
then
this
it
is
turns-
your-
Yeah,
so
and
it's an
that's
L
where
this
our garage is, yeah.
I thought you bordered Dale Thomas.
We do.
Where's the north?
He's to north of us.
He's on the north.
So it looks like there's already a shop building there.
Yeah, that was,
So 30 by 35. And then right next to it, 12 by 21.
So you're looking at build right
Yeah, I'm looking at building right there.
in here, which is, where's your access point? And if it's not from the
We come
street
in through the alley.
Oh, the alley.
through here,
Yeah,
so you come in and then come back.
yeah.
See, that whole yard's done in asphalt.
Not likely that a residential house is gonna be built there. And if the other option is to have combined lots, if you were allowed to be combining lots, then if he had both of those lots together, the one concern that comes up if you have, garages that aren't attached to residentials is that they can be sold differently. So the question would be is if he decided to leave, sold the house and could keep a garage, there may be a question of whether that would be maintained at the same spot as if it was attached to the residential house.
Well,
At
that's
this
not
point, they're
like
together.
With all of it in asphalt.
I'm only addressing the possibilities for you guys to decide which way you go. I'm only bringing up the issues maybe to consider, however you want to go.
I got 6 inches asphalt through both yards, but that was going nowhere. I need access, tired of the weeds.
I'll bet they don't go through that.
Well, no.
I think it'd be fine to put a shop there,
I don't see a problem with it.
as long as setbacks are met, and that'd be administrative, but.
And that would be administrative. He'll still have to meet with in order to go to a building permit, the setbacks have to be reviewed at building permit, and he'd have to fit those setbacks at that point, change the style, whatever, move it around, whatever he's got to do, he'll have to do that in order to make the setbacks work out. The question for you is, this is a residential lot. Professional office residential, but
So are you looking for a motion?
Did we say the neighbors
Yeah,
know?
motion to approve.
Yeah,
let's
let's
send
send
out
out
letters.
Okay,
They send out everybody a letter. I had a couple of them ask me what we was doing.
I move that we allow him to do that on that property, following standard setbacks, if he can figure out some way to do it that'll work for him.
Okay, we have a motion by Dave to
I
allow
would be recommending approval.
recommend approval
City council.
to the council.
I'll second.
And a second by Eric. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay,
Thank you.
Now you-
Got one more question.
okay.
What can we do about nuisance neighbors? We've got that brown house on the corner.
Is this one?
No,
No, it's the
This
one
one?
right on the
East.
corner,
other way,
Other way.
other way, right there.
right there. That's the old brown
She
house.
passed
It's got
away.
rocks all around it. The old gal passed away. Kid's got it now. He ain't doing nothing with it. Cops over there all the time, so I'm calling them because they've got people breaking the windows out. And again, there do go, like that place just needs to go away. It needs to be cleaned up.
Continue to call.
that's
I
not,
even offered to go clean the dang stuff up. Somebody paid, the dump bill for it. There's tires and everything else when they clean up the old park. They just drive across the street and drop them off in that dump park.
You're willing to go clean that up foot?
Uh,
So you're willing to go clean it up a foot?
If we don't have to pay the double.
we didn't have to pay for all the dump
Why don't you come see me?
tires
And
and all
let's see
that.
if we can find something out.
Well,
Done that way.
that's the sewer I might, right there in my front yard, you know?
Come visit me and
hard, I
we'll see
live
what we
right
can figure out.
across from the park. You guys
If we have
cleaned
no
up.
trailer
Yeah.
tractors. Thank
Okay,
you.
thanks, guys.
Okay. On to other business. Ryan, you sent an email about chapter 17.
Yes, we have it, really prepared, we've submitted it, and I've incorporated any of the comments I received. but there wasn't very many from this group.
I just started looking through it again because I remembered I had it, and one of those I read it. Did you need something else?
Yeah, Lynn's contact information.
Is there anybody at the front?
You can see that email.
How long ago was this? Cause that one was in Marita.
I know I got it. Maybe you didn't send it to everybody.
I don't know.
Chapter 17 is the main, planning and zoning chapter. On the 30th, let's see, sir.
30th of last month.
Maybe you didn't send it to everybody, just to me.
Well, I sent it to the chair.
Yeah, and I
The
didn't.
chair-
I didn't pass it on.
And he's the only one that knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
I passed it to the chair with the chair.
I know. It's hard. At that point, that's. Like I said, I just started looking through things. One of the concerns I had, was changing commission to board. And the concern I have with that is state law. It'd be 10-9A- and part 3.
Sure, we're,
Calls it a planning commission.
sure, we have
And
in
so-
another revision, and I can't pull it up, but in one of our revisions, I can pull it, see if I can find it here. In our most current one, it is posted on the city council agenda and that. But it will, under definition of, the issue with boards is to call them all boards instead of calling one a commission and one board and one a committee and just trying to define them all. I'll pull it here and see if I can. Wait just a second.
What part of this are we discussing? Are we just discussing the generic name?
So he had a whole bunch of changes on it. And that was one thing that concerned me because the state calls it a commission. I don't know an official definition between a commission and a board. But where the state says, it says, each municipality shall enact an ordinance establishing a planning commission. I think we need to leave it as a commission.
What do you see as the difference?
Just the verbiage. The verbiage, and I see that, to me, a board is less than a commission.
So you think it's a downgrade?
I do.
Just from my point, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's
So
me.
this is the definition.
Just a different word, but I think we should agree with the state.
It is planning and zoning board means planning commission of Roosevelt City as duly appointed under the provision of state law and Roosevelt City ordinance.
So you added that in there.
That has been added to address that.
Okay.
Because I agree, there was some discussion about it. Title II does call it a planning commission, but it doesn't call it planning and zoning commission. And the state law doesn't call it planning and zoning, it only calls it planning. So this would be both broader, so that it's taking into the board, including the planning commission activities as well as the zoning board activities. So broader in scope, But it's trying to define and make consistent. It's the recommendations that our attorney had. My concern was the same as yours, of commission versus board. And this is what he's proposed and recommended, that we leave it as a board, but add this in order to identify exactly the comment you've had, which I also have. That is where it was presented. I understand and have looked at that one and understood exactly where you're coming from.
Another concern I had, was I noticed, like I said, I've been busy and haven't been following up as well as I should, but I know there is a public hearing at city council for this.
There is, which you would go to city council.
So the way I've always understood it and the way it reads out in Utah League of Cities and Towns book is the public hearing actually should happen here first on that. And
There's an
then,
option to have public hearings at each level.
and then it actually, so it says the starting place for any land use ordinance is the planning commission. And then and that reference Utah code 10-9A-502.
Tell me that number again.
10-9A-502. And then it goes through a lot of other things on stuff. And then it says the process for amending a previously adopted land use ordinance or zoning map is the same as for adopting the initial ordinance and map. It begins with a recommendation from the planning commission, the appropriate public hearings, and ends with a formal adoption of an ordinance by the city, town, or council. One thing I read in here, and I didn't highlight it, it says that when we hold that planning, when we hold the public hearing here, they actually don't need the public hearing. They may have, the wording says may have the public hearing at the city council level, but we need to have the planning and our planning commission actually help hold those public hearings on any changes to these ordinances.
I'd have to do with our attorney on that question. At this point, all ordinances, law ordinances, sit at the city council, and they've all been taken there. And at that point, they hold a public hearing on a law change.
Right.
They being the legislative body, they hold the law changes. We're not changing zoning as far as designating any areas of zoning, because they are held here as you pointed out, so.
But like I said, I just feel there's some things that need fixed to more follow our state laws for our planning commission that haven't been, we've slowly been working towards doing better. But this is another one where I feel that we need to look more at the state law and make sure we're following that as far as how we're doing what we need to do as a planning commission. And I know we all need to do better. I personally know I need to do better at following that. In part 3, it says the planning commission shall make a recommendation to the legislative body for the general plan and amendments to the general plan, land use regulations, and goes on and stuff. And so we shall make those recommendations to the legislature. On planning.
Which is Title 16 and not 17.
Right.
17 is the zoning.
I feel they're very similarly tied.
Understand.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
And so I think we need to make sure we're trying to follow the state as well as our own.
I can appreciate that. And
I think we just are veering here and there, and we need to kind of tighten it in a little. It's my feeling. I'm sorry I didn't pass it on to you guys.
So that, at that point, we got no word from you other than at this meeting. You've had it for 2 weeks.
Well, like I said, I totally.
And you've said nothing.
I spaced it out until 2 days ago, I remembered, shoot, I was supposed to look at that. You know what I mean?
At this point, you know,
I know it's late, it's late in the
today.
game.
I mean, that's a little,
It's
that's a
late
little
in the
poor
game.
faith of bringing it to the meeting today when you've had it for 2 weeks and you've done nothing to respond to it.
And like I said, I need to do better, and I admit that.
We've had it through an attorney, you know, at that point, if you'd like to take that, you're welcome to always visit with an attorney about it. That's fine.
Yep.
I'm trying to do the best. I've tried to give it to the chair with plenty of time, understanding what was coming on. It's been given to the city council for a period of time. We've gone through it. Staff has gone through it. We've been through this. A lot of it is changes that will bring it in line to what actually happens.
Right.
There's a lot of it that's
And I
really.
agree, you know, most of them, I think they all make sense, you know?
And did you find any of them that you did review that you would disagree with, other than that one, and that one has been caught? Was there any in those that you had a conflict with?
A lot of them, to me, what I saw was, removing things that were never done, you know, which a lot of our ordinances need cleaned up, you know, like that.
It's been 30 years since we've done a lot of cleanup on this one.
And it
And some of
shows.
it's longer than that.
Yeah.
So we're cleaning up what's not relevant,
Mhm.
and we worked through a long process. I apologize if we haven't come to this spot, but
Right.
we
And
did
like
intend
I
to.
said, I read it and I opened it, and when I opened it on the phone, nothing was read and it made no sense. And I had no clue what's changed. And then I forgot until like Monday, and then I'm like, wait a minute. And I pulled up on a computer and, oh, there's the changes. And when you pull it up on the phone and you see no changes, you think, okay, what's he changed? I'm scrolling through the whole thing looking for something, you know.
Understood.
So, like I said, I just got busy and it slipped my mind until the point of no return, basically, you know what I mean?
I apologize,
And so,
that was not my intention to skip anybody. Mine is to deal directly with the committee,
Right.
the chairman.
and I didn't think, like I said, I didn't look to see that they didn't get it. I thought it was to everybody. And so that was my fault too there, so. Other than that, that's.
If you'd like, it will be on the council agenda. It is going to have a public hearing at that point. It is scheduled and has been scheduled for 3 weeks.
When's that?
The 20th, yes, next week.
Next
You haven't had a council meeting this month yet.
No.
We have not.
Okay.
So the next one will be on the 20th. It has been published as a public hearing for, I think, 3 weeks. The language is out, has been sent out to the council, and is up on the public meeting website. You're welcome to review it. If you have items you disagree with, we'd be more than willing to take those. At this point, I do believe where it is a zoning and not a planning. It does fit under where we're headed, but that may be splitting the hairs, and I don't mean to skip anybody in that process. Would be happy to have that. Keep in mind that this is phase one.
Right.
We're trying to get through all the code, and we're saying this is phase one in the cleanup process, but it will take us years to clean everything up. And we need to get 17 done, and we need to get part 2 of 17 done. We're only on part 1, part 2. It's by far the largest of the titles. And then at that point, we need to work on Title 8, Title 9, and come back to Title 16. And we have master planning that will come this winter. We have an RFP out for. So when master planning comes, they'll come and meet with this body, and have a public hearing for master planning. But feel free to look at it. If there's any comments, and that, be happy to take those.
Is your most updated changes
updated
are
on
on pmn.utah.gov?
Yes,
Okay.
correct. It was just uploaded. So that is the most current. Recommend you look at it. It does have the correction as you stated. That one, I had the same concern. I felt that resolved it from the attorney side.
I agree.
So, but we are looking at it. some progress on it, and it will take a long time. One of the things on it, came from, city council, and that's to adjust the 30%, with the size of.
Right,
Exit.
right. Exterior detached buildings.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct, and that is one item.
Which would have normally saved some.
And we have 3 or 4 that are waiting for that to be processed so they can move. It's pushed us a little bit faster on it than we wanted. But we are comfortable with where we're at.
Yeah.
But look at it, if you have other comments, we'd be more than willing to take those, and if they're not in phase 1, again, we'll be at this for a while. We've been at city code for a long time, and we have a lot to clean up and then a lot to modify. This is not one of
Well, and
them.
it's a continual process.
Absolutely.
What the state does every year too. So.
Right, and the state passes hundreds of laws. We'll come back at this, and we should be reviewing all of our code every year after the state. We haven't, and we need to do better. But the more we can eliminate and trim down, the easier it will be for us to actually make the proper changes and keep up with state code as we go forward. So we're really hoping that we can get the support of all so that we can really move the ball. So.
No other business?
I move adjourned.
We have a motion by Lynn to adjourn.
I'll second.
Second by Chris. All in favor? Aye.
I want to say, Dr. just a second.
Okay.
Again, a live meeting here.